Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Welcome to the 11th installment of Creating with Window Envelopes. Up till now, each week I've been posting a new idea on how to create various junk journal elements using window envelopes that measure 8 5/8 by 3 5/8. But the majority of the ideas that I have been sharing with you guys can be modified to fit other types of window envelopes or even just basic window envelopes in your stash. And today I'll be sharing with you a side flip with a hidden window envelope and a pocket. And I will be doing a project share and then I will jump into a tutorial. But before I get going on showing you the projects that I created, I did want to let everyone know that I am changing my format slightly for these videos. Up till now, I have been posting them pretty regularly every Wednesday. And starting in January, I will be changing it to, instead of posting one video a week, I will just be doing it once a month, creating with window envelopes. And my plan is just to post the video the first Wednesday of each month. So if you have been enjoying this envelope series, just make sure you stay tuned to my channel on the first Wednesday of each month, and I will have a new project using window envelopes and also a tutorial. So again, today I created a side flip with a hidden window envelope and a pocket to share with you guys. It's kind of a fun, quick and easy project using these window envelopes. And so I have 3 to show you, and then if you stay tuned to the tutorial part, this is the one that we'll be doing in the tutorial. And so the first 2 I did create using paper from a 7 Gypsies paper pad and then scraps from my stash, and a couple of digital images that come from TaylorMade Journals, which I will have her shop, Lorna's shop, listed below in the description box. I do love her shop. And so I will try to point out a couple of the things that I used from her shop. And so here was the first one that I created, again with a 7 Gypsies paper, and I layered on some different scraps in my stash. And I think this label was a Tracy Fox label, a Tim Holtz a little paper doll. I added some vintage lace. This particular one, I had this little journal card and I created it into a tuck and I added a digital image. I'm not quite sure who this one is from. Added a tab up at the top so that it encourages you to open up your flap. You could put it on the top or the side, whatever works. And when you open it up, this one I did create a pocket on the inside, and I have a little piece of ephemera. This one I believe did come from one of Lorna's kits from TaylorMade Journals. I think it was the La Vie and Rose kit, I think. And I had that left over from that one, but I also have purchased some of her ephemera sets. So it could have came from there, but I think this one came from the La Vie and Rose set. And on top of this one, I did add just a little collage up here with some tools, some eyelash trim, and a little piece of trim. And then over here, you can see the window envelope a little bit peeking out right there. I did create a pocket here with some old scrapbooking stuff in my stash, a little bit of a journal card that says memories, and I added some tea-dyed paper to the back so you could journal on it. And then again, you can kind of see that envelope, the window envelope part right there that I created. And I added a journal card, and on this journal card, I went ahead and added another Tim Holtz paper doll. And you can also journal on the back. And this line paper is from a paper pad, again, from 7 Gypsies with lines on it. And the little star paper on the bottom is just a scrap from my stash that kind of matched some of the other reds that I had. And then I also had, behind the window envelope, I did add some paper, some dictionary paper, and I got that from Angel Dreams Crafts. It was left over from a design team project, and I just had that scrap sitting on my desk, so I went ahead and added that, just so when you pulled out the journal card, you'd have something to see behind it. So that was the first one I created. The second one, again, I used paper again from that 7 Gypsies paper pad, and this is the paper pad that I'm trying to smash and use up. And you can see it had some shabby paper in there, but then you see some of those reds that I used on this one. But this time, for this one, I used some of these papers right in here, some of these shabby colored ones. And on this one, on the front, I layered some doilies. I had a little Project Life card that said document, so I figured you could journal on that. I added another trim, and that's from Angel Dreams Crafts Kim. It's just one of her dangle trims that I cut up. This time around, I added the tab right here on the side. And again, this paper, I think on the side, this was part of the 7 Gypsies paper. And then I added this cute little image right here, and that came from one of TaylorMade Journal's digitals right there. And so I thought she looked really cute, matched that paper quite nicely. I added some lace to the bottoms and also the side of this one. And when you flip this one open, again, you see the lace on the side. I added this little sentiment at the bottom that said delight in the beauty around you, and I got that from one of my crafty friends, Deanna Marie, who's Handmade by Deanna Marie here on YouTube. I went ahead and added another one of those cute images from TaylorMade Journals on this piece. This background piece of paper is, again, 7 Gypsies paper. And this paper right here is a beautiful set that also is from TaylorMade Journals. She has some lace paper that I use, and I like this paper because it's light enough that you can still journal on it. And in here, this was a remnant left over from that La Vie en Rose kit that TaylorMade Journals has. And I had that left over from a design team project, and so I just added that. It was just part of I think one of her journal pages that I cut down into a little journal card. And same with this, that came from that kit also. And so I added that there for a little tuck spot. And then this one also has a journal card that pulls out. And again, that's part of the 7 Gypsies paper collection. And this is just some basic paper on the back side. And then this one, since I always like to have something pretty behind my windows, again, my friend Deanna Marie had gifted me this in a swap that says Captivating Moments, and I thought that was really nice behind the window. And then also currently behind the window, when you pull out the journal card, I have some of the 7 Gypsies paper behind there that you see on that one. And so again, when I put that journal card back in, you can see it says Captivating Moments, and it just looks like maybe this girl is looking off into space or something, you know, doing some deep thinking or thinking about different moments in her life. So I thought that was appropriate for that one. And then the final one that I have to share with you guys is this beautiful peacock one, and this one is the tutorial part. And again, for this one, I created paper, and I used a paper pad. It's a Downton Abbey paper pad, and I have it sitting here. I have the large paper pad and the smaller one, and so this one is from Crafter's Companion. I picked it up several years ago. I picked up some of them at Tuesday Morning, and then I also got some as gifts from some of my crafty friends. And so I did use paper from this to create this envelope element, and I also used a piece from TaylorMade Journals on the inside of this one. So on this one, I added some die cuts. There's some lace on it. I made a pocket on the front, so that's a little bit different than these two. I changed it up a bit. I did add a little notebook that you can journal on inside the pocket. And for this one, I added the tab up at the top to encourage people to open it up. And again, you can see that beautiful lace paper from TaylorMade Journals. I added some more die cuts, more paper from that Downton Abbey paper pad. I added just a little sheet of paper right here so you could journal on. And then on this one, the journal card, I did go ahead and add another die cut that you could see through the window of the peacock feathers. And then on the back side, a piece of the Downton Abbey paper. And then when I pull this journal card out, again, you just see a remnant of the TaylorMade Journals lace paper. So again, thanks everybody for watching the project share part of this video. If you are interested in seeing how I put these together, again, stay tuned for the rest of the video, and this will be the one that I will be doing the tutorial part on. Before I start working on this project, I did want to show you guys my little rough template that I'm working from. Again, I'm calling this a side flip with hidden window envelope. And then of course, if you want to add a pocket, you can do that too. And so basically what you are starting off with is your window envelope on the back side, and then you're creating a piece on top of it to flip. And then of course, you'll have this as a pocket, and if you want to add a pocket to the front or the inside or a belly band or whatever suits your fancy, you can go ahead and do that. But for those that just like the basic idea, again, here is kind of my rough idea on how to put this together. So to begin with, you are going to want to start with your window envelope, and I am starting off with a window envelope that is open. And again, my window envelopes are 8 5/8 by 3 5/8, and the first step is going to be to cut it down to the size that you want for your journal. And so I think I'm going to cut mine at about 7 inches, just because most of my journals are around 7.5 inches. So I know that this will fit nicely on the majority of the pages that I would use in a journal. And so I'm just going to cut it, again, like I said, roughly at 7 inches. So I'm cutting off the bottom, and then I'm just going to slice off just a very small amount on the very top. So just like a little sliver. So after you've cut your envelope to size, this is what you end up with. And so I'm just going to fold it back up. And normally the envelope flap goes this way, but I'm going to go ahead and fold it towards the front. Like that. And the first step that I like to do is I'm going to cut a piece of paper and lay it down behind here so that you'll see something nice behind the envelope. And so this one is slightly longer, so I will have to cut that down. And then once I've glued that down, and I am going to cut it so it's the same size as the rest of my envelope, so that it will be 3 5/8 across. And so I will glue that down to the back side right there. And then on this side, you will also need to decide how you want to do some basic decorating. If you want to do some collaging, or oftentimes I've shown you guys in past videos how I take a template and I trace out my window. And so I did do that. So I will also glue this down right there. And so I'm going to do those two things, and then I will come back to show you the next steps. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and I decorated. I added a background piece and the paper in front. And in case if anybody is wondering what paper I'm using today, this background lace paper comes from TaylorMade Journals. It is a digital kit that Lorna created, and she has two of these kits, which I love. She has all these like scanned in like lace images, and I just love them as background pieces, and also for background pieces on like tags that you could still journal on because they're light enough. And so I did use that. And then this paper right here comes from a larger Downton Abbey paper pad from Crafter's Companion. And I have both the 6x6 paper pads and the big 12x12. And this one came from the 12x12. I am wanting to work on a Downton Abbey journal. And I have quite a few embellishments that I created last year using this small paper pad. But I'm finally going to start working on actually creating my journal. So I'm just making a few more embellishments to add, and then I'll go ahead and put the journal together. So after you picked your paper and you've glued down those two pieces, the next step also is to add your paper to your flap. And so again, I'm choosing some more Downton Abbey paper, and this is what that paper looks like. And I think I'm going to use this. This will be my cover right here. So I'm going to use that as my cover. And then again, on the inside piece that I'm going to glue down right on top of this flap, I'm going to use another piece from TaylorMade Journals. And you can also ink your edges if you want to. For today's video, just to make it go faster, I'm not going to ink my edges. But I did want to show you what the next two things were that I was going to glue. So I'm going to go ahead and just add glue to this envelope flap and glue this down. And then I will sandwich this on top of it and glue also to this part of the envelope and then this part of the paper. And then I will also trim it down because this is a little bit larger than what my envelope is. So I'm going to also trim that down. So I'm going to go ahead and do those two steps, and I will be back after that. So after you've gone ahead and glued your two pieces to your envelope, the next step is to go ahead and shut your envelope up to make it into a pocket and to go ahead and decorate. So basically this is what we have. And again, if I was using this in a journal, I would go ahead and glue this down to my journal page or make it into a tuck or another pocket. And for my envelope, I do for sure want to make this part right here into a pocket. And so I am going to glue that shut, but before I do, I'm going to go ahead and add a little tab up on the top, and I'm just going to use a little circle punch that I have. So again, like I said, the next step is to go ahead and glue this shut, or you can sew it shut if you prefer sewing. So I'm going to let that dry, and while that's drying, I'm going to go ahead and create a journal card for inside of there. And so while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and decorate the front. And I already went ahead and cut a pocket for the front. You could also add the pocket to the inside if you would rather. And this time on this one, I think I want to put the pocket on the front. And again, this is just the opposite side of this paper. So I'm going to go ahead and glue this pocket down. And I kind of decided to make it more into a tuck spot, so I only glued it on 2 of the sides. And I do have some laces and trims that I dyed. I have some flowers I can decorate with. I also have some punch out pieces. This does have like little peacocks and birds on it, so I did die cut out a peacock and some peacock feathers. And if anybody's wondering, those ones come from the Peacock collection, and it's from metal dies from Crafter's Companion, and I picked these up at Tuesday Morning a while back. And so I think on this cover I want for sure to glue that down, and I do want some sort of trim, I believe, on this one. So I think I'm going to add this trim to the bottom, and it's just some kind of off-white trim that I dyed purple, and I just used re-inkers. And the stamp re-inker, I do have this Stampin' Up pad. It's Perfect Plum. That's what I use to edge my paper on here. But I have a re-inker for that, and that's what I use to dye this this lace. And what I do is I just stick a couple drops of the re-inker into a baggie and add a little bit of water, and then I dunk my laces and trims into it. So I'm going to glue that down there, I think. Just trying to make a decision if I want lace anywhere else. And I think I have enough, so I might add lace to the top here and the angle, and then also the bottom, and glue that down. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera, and then I'm also going to add a tab so that this, when it opens up, it'll have a tab right here. So I do have some different punch outs to decide from. So I'll go ahead and add a tab also, and then I will show you the next step after that. Okay, I did go ahead and I finished adding the trim and the peacock, and then I also went ahead, I added some little flower trim right here in the corner and up here, and the tab. And then I had this little banner or pennant piece that I stuck right here behind the peacock just to make the peacock look like it was standing on something, just to ground it a little bit. And I figure if you're using this in a journal, you can always write a date or a name or something fun on this. So I didn't add anything extra to the banner, just left it blank so that it can be added later to once it's in a journal. And then I also created off camera real quick, I just took some scrap pieces of coffee or tea dyed paper, and I added a little die cut to the bottom, and also I just wrapped a piece of gold paper over the top because I had stapled it, or I tied it together. This one I tied together, and I added a little trim over the top just so I would have something to stick into the pocket, and so you could write on that. And so then my next steps are to go ahead and decorate or do something on the inside. I did create a journal card just using the TaylorMade journals, the lace paper on the one side, and then I used some of that Downton Abbey paper on the back side. I inked my edges, added a tab, and I put the little peacock feather right there because my plan was that when this little journal card is in the envelope, you can see it kind of peeking out for something kind of fun. And so then my next steps then are to decorate here and then maybe do just a small amount here. I do want to leave this pretty plain. I do like to have a space in these types of envelopes when you flip them open. I do like to have a space to either add a photo or to be able to journal, and that's why I chose this digital paper, is because it's light enough that you could journal on it with a pen. And so I'm not going to do much there, except I think I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue down another one of those peacock feather die cuts that I have. And then I also went through my scraps, and I have had this little scrap that I inked the edges and cut the ends. And so I'm going to add this here just for some more journaling space somewhere on here. And then I had one last die cut that I cut out, and so I just was thinking maybe I could set it right there or glue it right there, I think. And I have one last bit of lace that I'd like to use up, and so I'm just going to go ahead and also glue that across the bottom. I'm just going to do that, and so I'm going to go ahead and glue all those pieces again off camera, and then I will be back to show you the completed project. So I've now finished gluing down everything that we just talked about, and I just wanted to show you the final layout that I ended up with. Again, I added the lace and the die cut here and the die cut here, and I stuck the journal card inside of the envelope. And again, one last look at the front. And if you were to use this in a journal, and I just have a notebook here, so we'll just, I'll show you how I would end up using it in a journal. So I would end up gluing it down onto a page in my journal. And most likely what I would end up doing, I think, is I would glue down this side and the bottom and make it into a tuck spot. That way you could still tuck something in. If you chose to put it on this side of the journal, what would be kind of fun is the tag would hang out, or the tab right here, so you could line it up with the left hand side of your journal. And again, then you would open it up and you would have all this space to journal on and the journal card to take out. You could also, if you had a really large journal page, you could angle it somehow and make it into a tuck spot also. Or if you wanted to glue it down on all three sides, you could glue it down, and then that would give you one more tuck spot in the background to put something else. So that would be how I would use it in a journal. So thanks again, everybody, so much for watching today. And I just wanted to remind everyone one last time that I will be changing the format of the videos. Next month, my plan is to just go ahead and start posting just one video a month with creating with envelopes. I just have other projects I want to work on, and the tutorials take me quite a while to edit and do. So I'm just going to be posting one video each month, and I think I'm going to do that the first Wednesday of each month. And so there will be another one next week for you guys to enjoy with creating with window envelopes. And again, hopefully you enjoyed today's episode. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. I do love to read them. Sometimes it takes me a little bit to answer everyone's questions or comments, but I do get to them eventually. So I do love it when people leave comments. So until next time, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day and happy crafting.